Welcome back to the 128 KB podcast. We are back once again.
Due to lack of popular demand.
Yes, and that demand was so lacking that we are officially...
Insiders.
Yes.
Yay!
Do you want to say, called it again? Did we call it?
We're so good.
Yeah, well, self-congratulations are great as well.
Yeah.
We're so good.
We are.
Yeah, we're so good. Okay, so those eagle-eyed viewers and long-time subscribers will have seen a video last week that dated like rotten cheese the minute it was published. For those of you that don't know, we did a video speculating about what ASUS could be doing this year in regards to a successor to the ROG Ally X. And that maybe they'll be looking at a budget alternative in the tough range.
Something the ultimate force.
Yeah, something around the £500-600 price point. It's maybe not an actual replacement to the Ally X, but something that sits alongside it's a separate SKU.
Yeah. Because they came out and said, ROG, we're all about balls to the wall, top end,
raw dogging,
maximum power, like screw price, just making it as good as possible. And they said, that they don't want to be refreshing it every year. So we're fully under the impression that they'll be waiting for RDNA 4 next year before we see an Ally 2. So we were saying, well, the tough range,
it's an open goal, isn't it?
Yeah, it'd be a good one to slip in and get some of that lower value, the cheaper stuff things. But we refilmed that about a month before.
No, we didn't.
We did. We filmed that like a month before it went out last week.
Because we just thought it was a lovely, timeless discussion. Nothing's going to happen for a while. Yeah. We can film this and then, we can put it out in the schedule.
Yes.
We published. Well, we didn't actually publish it.
It was set for even further down the line.
Set for even further. And then these rumors started coming out about Project Kennan, or as it was first being called Project Kennan.
Yeah,
Kennan and Kel.
Yeah.
I love orange soda.
I miss watching that.
Yeah, so do I. These rumors started coming out. I was like, right, we better put that video out about the tough Ally because I've got a feeling that something's going to be happening with the Xbox handheld and Asus.
Yeah.
And then sure enough, we publish it, and within hours, the full story starts leaking out.
Yeah.
Today's super awesome video sponsor is MOBAPAD. Long-time viewers will know that MOBAPAD is our absolute favourite brand for Switch controllers and Joy-Cons, so it's genuinely a real joy to promote them. Seriously, their Joy-Con alternatives are a genuine game changer. No more drifting, no more hand cramps, just awesomely spec'd, great-looking Joy-Cons. And the Pro controllers are just as epic too. They're packed with features and feel amazing in your hands, all at a really competitive price. So if you're looking for a Joy-Con alternative or a new Pro controller, check out MOBAPAD on the link below. For those of you that don't know, it came from Jez Corden at Windows Central, who is a pretty good source for anything Windows-based.
Yeah, Windows Central.
Yeah. That Project Kennan, which is Xbox Gaming's secret handheld project that everyone's known about for about a year.
Yeah.
There's some real details coming here from it now, and it seems nailed on that Project Kennan is a collaboration between Microsoft Gaming, the Xbox division, and an OEM PC manufacturer that's nameless, that is almost certainly ASUS.
It's totally ASUS, come on. I mean, like, thinking about it, like, ASUS were the first to the mark with the Ally, the first, like, mass-produced, standardized, like, the Ally, the Ally, the first Windows thing. Came with Game Pass, it gave you 3 months for free or whatever. And then obviously all the SteamOS stuff started happening. Lenovo then partner with SteamOS, and release. Well, it's not even out yet, is it?
No,
but releasing the SteamOS thing. And Asus got asked, so are you going to be doing like a SteamOS one? They went, nah.
Windows is like the optimum version. It gives the most versatility for gamers. That's what they said.
Yes.
Which is 100% true.
That is facts right there. And also they then said, and of course, we pair with Xbox Games Pass. Why did I say Games Pass?
I don't know.
Xbox Game Pass, but they made a deal. Like they made a big deal with saying that. Like, and it's like, It's obviously them.
It's obviously them.
Like Microsoft, like Phil Spencer himself says, I love using my ROG Ally on flights, you know, like he's not like, you know.
Sponsored by ASUS.
He's not like they're rocking a frickin' 11-inch Acer, is he?
No.
Like, look at my Nitro Blaze, yeah.
Do you know what? There's a part of me that really wants to try the Nitro Blaze 11.
I want to try it, yeah.
Because one thing I've noticed is that video that went out where we're laughing at it, the launch, because it's quite funny.
It's so funny.
There's quite a few comments, people commenting like, well, in my actual use case, this is quite good. There's quite a few people in support of it. I'm like, maybe there's a whole section of gaming that I've not considered.
Yeah, how to waste money.
It is $1,100.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, it's a lot.
If it was 500 quid, it would be have a place.
11-inch screen.
$1,100? Are you mad?
Have you ever wanted to hold a laptop?
Yeah. With like subpar performance? Well, who knows? Maybe we'll get a hands-on.
I want to try it.
Yeah, I want to try it.
Because I think it might be quite funny.
It'll be funny.
It'll be fun as well.
I'm sure if they gave us one and the price hadn't been revealed, I'd be like, this is a wicked £400 PC. And if they came out and said 1,200 quid, I'd be like,
yeah. So anyway, it seemed nailed on at the ASUS, and then obviously this article, this deep dive from Jez Corden, who's had apparently inside information, so he's just done a full report from Andy
from us
about what Project Kennan's going to be, and it isn't just a nameless OEM; it's clearly ASUS making
Definitely going to be ASUS.
So I wanted to kind of go through his story and kind of discuss all the points.
Life story? Or?
Not Jez Corden's life story. I don't know the guy. It may surprise you.
Thought you were like in behind the scenes.
Or a Windows Central insider.
Yeah.
I've got the inside scoop on his inside scoops.
Yes. Yeah, that's it.
Because this sits firmly in our wheelhouse. We are all about handheld gaming. It's been all about ASUS, the ROG Ally X experience for the longest time.
Yeah.
And obviously recent converts into the world of Xbox and specifically Game Pass.
Yeah.
Both of you, I mean, you've got a Series X as well, your wife uses, but for your PC gaming as well, and for me on the Series X.
Yep.
So it kind of just marries those worlds perfectly.
Yeah, totally.
And we've all been speculating about an Xbox handheld.
We've been speculating it since before it was announced by Phil Spencer that yes, it was a thing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
He goes on to say, well, in news that may not shock you, ASUS has been tipped to build the Xbox's Project Kennan device. The report's also corroborated by The Verge's Tom Warren, another great source who I pinch news from all the time.
Yeah, do you?
It'll essentially feel similar to an ASUS ROG Ally, albeit with an Xboxy twist.
Yes.
According to trusted sources, Kennan will blend ASUS's styling with updated design conventions that are more typical to Xbox-style device, with more prominent grips and a dedicated Xbox guide-style button.
A green portal.
Yes, 100%. I've got a real feeling that it might feel like an Xbox controller that's been split in half, like the Portal is in the PlayStation space.
Yeah.
I did see some people straight away reacting to this and going, if this is a cloud-only device,
it's not going to be.
Because obviously they're thinking about the Portal.
I'm
out. It's 100% not going to be that.
Yeah.
Because Phil Spencer's big thing about the handheld gaming was, I think it's very important that the device, and this is a direct quote, that the device can play the games natively on it.
Absolutely, yeah. That is a very important thing, because the Portal is not a handheld. It's a controller.
It's a companion device, isn't it?
It is you have to have a PlayStation. I know now you can stream without it, but still.
It's still cloud gaming, isn't it?
Yeah. It's not its own thing, really. You know, so this totally will be. Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. So I've got a feeling like style-wise, they may go for the controller split in half thing. Yeah. With the like long horns. They're talking about prominent grips. Yes. I think that might be what they're getting at there.
But honestly, this is a double-edged sword, because you're immediately making the thing huge by doing so. Because having horns that stick down like 2.5 inches off of the screen, imagine the Ally and then sticking like big
It does
feet.
also make your hand position lower as well.
It makes your hand position lower. I think ergonomically it will be correct. So like having those horns, because I've tested a lot of phone controllers, right? You know, and some of the best ones are the ones that feel like a controller sawed in half.
Yeah.
So the ones where there's proper horns, you know, and they actually feel good to game on because you've got proper ergonomics, your right hand to that asymmetrical dropped thumbstick, then it has access without having the switch cripple hand effect.
The claw.
Yeah. So I think it makes sense as a gaming device that it would have the ergonomics of an Xbox controller.
Yeah.
But because it is a portable, it then throws it out being it's going to be big, you know, potentially, at least if not wide.
Yeah.
Because let's say we've got an 8-inch screen here. Like, imagine the Ally. You've got little tucked-in ergonomics. It's quite nice to hold. Some people struggle with it, but whatever. You know, it's quite nice. I can game on it for hours and be fine. But if we've got then big horns on it, the whole thing is then wider and much deeper in feel. And then putting that in a bag or whatever, you're going to have a whacking great big case.
It's also conceivable, though, that they could go, because they're very much talking about it's got ASUS design and Xbox design. It's very conceivable that it could have exactly the same chassis as the Ally.
Yeah, I think it's not, personally.
No. You think it's going to be more
It's going to be a redesigned, maybe not even full controller, but I think at least redesigned, like, stylings, yes. So we might still have some RGB in there, you know, that maybe just set to green only or something because it's Xbox, right? We're definitely going to get that Xbox button.
Yeah, 100%.
I love that. Like, I love the Xbox button. And the fact that will be like game bar or whatever it will be. We'll discuss that in a bit. But you know, I like that that's going to be there. But I feel like to separate itself from the Ally range, it's going to be a standalone thing. That this is an Xbox handheld, but
really important.
Yeah.
You've kind of traversed this point really nicely. The report goes on to say, it's unclear whether Project Kennan will sit alongside any prospective ASUS ROG Ally 2 as a separate SKU, or whether it is in essence the Ally 2 just subsidized by Xbox.
Yeah.
So, yeah, how it looks and how it feels is really important part of that. In my mind, it's not an Ally 2.
Correct.
In my mind, it does sit alongside, but it sits alongside the Ally X.
Yes.
Because of the price point that we're going to talk about, the hardware that's in it's not going to be enough to justify a replacement for the Ally. Mm-hmm. So it will sit alongside it, but will look very different.
Yes.
Much like how we were speculating last week about the Tough Ally.
Yep.
It's obviously going to look like something from the Tough range. So it doesn't look like an ROG Ally. It looks like a Tough Ally.
Yeah.
This will be, in that sense, a very different looking but similar styled.
Absolutely. I don't think when, you know, obviously it's speculation, like, is this going to essentially be the Ally 2? No, it's not. This is going to be no Ally. This is nothing to do with the Ally range. This is going to be a completely separate Microsoft thing. This is going to be the Xbox, like, PC handheld, whatever they call it. It's not going to be ROG. It's not going to be Ally. It's going to live parallel. Because we know that ASUS said we don't want to be refreshing every year. You know, that we want to. ROG is all about being top dog, top performance. We know RDNA 4 is out now.
Yeah.
We know that that's going to be coming to APUs next year, likely with the Z3 Extreme chips. Well, the Z3 chips, right? I fully expect ASUS, we've discussed this so many times, but I fully expect ASUS to wait to release the Ally 2 next year, and that's going to be the big thing. And then this handheld is the refresh for this year from ASUS, but with an Xbox stamp on it.
So what's it called? Because if it's not part of the Ally range at all, even not, like, it's obviously not in the Republic of Gamers stable, and it's not in the Tough, then is it even an Ally 2 at all? It's definitely not an Xbox, although everything's an Xbox.
Yeah.
Even my fridge.
Yes, indeed.
It's not an Xbox because it's very clear that this isn't XboxOS yet. This is a Windows PC.
Yes, it's Windows PC, but it's going to have, because it's a licensed Xbox device, it is still going to be. This is an Xbox. Do you know what I mean? It's going to be Xbox branding.
Yeah,
and everything.
But do you think they're going to call it like part of the Xbox range or something, or part of the ASUS range?
No, Xbox.
You think it's going to be the Xbox
to get the sales behind
or if it's the Xbox Ally?
It could be the Xbox Ally. Yeah, maybe it is, but I still fully believe it will run parallel to. So, like you said, it will run alongside the sales. The Ally X is still top dog for ASUS. This is going to be below it, like parallel.
I just want to say, probably 3-4 months ago, when we first started speculating about an Xbox handheld, we speculated about the idea about ASUS would make it.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
And we called it the Ally Xbox.
We did. Yeah, we
Do you remember that?
Yeah, we called it the Ally Xbox.
We thought it was the best thing since that. It was hilarious.
Yeah.
It now, weirdly, in the parallel universe somehow, it's become real.
Yes. Yeah. But it could be, maybe it is an Ally range and it is the Ally Xbox, you know? But essentially it would be what I think, however long ago we were speculating about the Tough range, which the video only dropped last week.
Yeah.
But I think that idea now maybe gets rested aside with ASUS, and maybe that's a future thing, or maybe it just dies and becomes the Ally Xbox.
Yeah.
But an Ally Xbox would be cool. You've then got if they call it that and keep it as an Ally range.
Yeah.
So that you have the Ally X and the Ally Xbox running together, then you've got the clout of ASUS behind them, the clout of everyone knowing what an Ally is in the gaming scene, you know, in the handheld space. And then you've got Xbox, which will then, you know, potentially slingshot it into far more people's minds. Imagine the publicity. You're going to be seeing like TV adverts and stuff for this stuff.
Yeah, I think this will be a seminal moment in handheld gaming. I think it will put PC gaming in everyone's hands in a way that we maybe saw a touch of with the Steam Deck.
Yes.
But with the clout of Microsoft and ASUS behind it.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
I mean, it's exciting for handheld gaming. I think it will make PC gaming even more accessible. Although, I was going to save this bit for a bit later on. I'm just going to get to it now. Although it's not Xbox OS yet.
No.
It is still Windows.
Yes.
It is a Windows PC.
Yes.
Now, there's going to be more and more Xbox guidance within it. So it's pointed at Xbox. There's going to be more things developed for it to make it more gamer friendly.
Yes.
But as of this moment, the idea of an Xbox OS or Windows gaming operating system isn't in fruition yet, and probably won't be for another year yet.
Yeah. See, I think, like, right at this point, if it dropped now, correct.
Yeah.
I mean, we discussed previously about Xbox OS, and just for anyone that's getting confused here, when we say Xbox OS, we're basically saying Xbox's version of SteamOS.
Yes.
We're not saying the actual Xbox operating system being on a handheld, right? That's something else. We're saying Windows with a launcher front that will look like an Xbox, play like an Xbox, but you can back out to Windows, still install your Steam and everything else.
Exactly like how the Steam Deck works.
I just want clarification.
Linux,
it's the number one comment we get is like, no, it's like, oh man, just read between the lines here. Come on. But, you know, but anyway, so I think right now, you're right, it's completely in development. However, I don't expect to see this Xbox Ally until the end of this year.
That's fair.
Right?
Yeah.
And I fully expect this is going to be SteamOS all over again. I think this will drop towards the end of the year with an Xbox OS
If that
launcher.
happens, it's absolutely, we're in chapter 2. The whole thing has changed.
Yeah.
If they can tie it in, and it does make sense that they would, tie it in with the launch of Windows gaming, let's call it, the Xbox OS as we coin it. That happens, you've got the clout, you've got the marketing, you've got the accessibility. It will be in handheld PC gaming will be in millions of people's hands if it happens.
Yeah, I don't think they could launch this without it, but I think you're right in terms of they're going to lock it to this device and use that as the testing bed.
Like the Steam Deck.
Yep, and then another 6 to 12 months after that, where they've tweaked it just like Steam, you know, Valve did with the Steam OS, then they release this Windows gaming Xbox OS to the public to put on your PC, on your Ally, whatever. This is going to be essentially the Steam Deck, but for Windows, and it's going to come with it. It would be such a fail not to release, here's our Xbox Windows PC, promoting their Windows gaming OS, which they've been heavily alluding to recently. Like,
it's the central focus of the Windows team.
Exactly. So it's going to release with it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to say that now. Like, it will.
I 100% hope you're true, and it does make a lot of sense. And it excites me. It excites me how easy that is. When you just want to consider how easy the Steam Deck was for non-PC gamers to access.
It's beautiful.
It's a
Steam
beautiful
OS. I love Steam OS.
Yeah.
Like, and people get me confused because people are like, oh, you used to love Steam Deck and now you're all like PC. I've always been PC for a start. I've never been on Linux. My only ever taste of Linux truly was the Steam Deck. Yeah. Right. I've played around with it before, but regardless, I love the Steam Deck. I love what it stands for. I love everything it offers. But I'm a PC gamer at heart. Yeah. I need to play everything. Right? Like all my games that I've bought over the past 25 years, I want to play. I can't do that on SteamOS.
100%.
Right? I play Call of Duty. I play multiplayer games, and I got games all over the joint on EA Launcher, like, and all these disgusting places which wish I didn't have games on. Yeah. I've got them there, so I want to play them, right? So I prefer Windows. That's just it. But I do love SteamOS, like, because it's beautiful. Yeah. It's so easy. Like, anyone can pick it up. Little Billy can do it.
A Windows version of that is bound to be an exciting thing.
Exactly, yeah.
And if the marketing's right of this Xbox handheld and it does sell in the millions, it has to work as simply as an Xbox does. Yes. Otherwise, it's a fail.
It's gonna.
So you're right in that thinking. The big thing then, as well as the extension of it, is what games will it be able to play?
Yeah, now this is a bit of a confuser for some people, I think.
Because your instant thought is, well, it's going to be Xbox games only, isn't it? But we have to remember that this is a Windows PC.
It's still going to be a Windows PC, yes.
So there's good and bad with that from the off.
Yeah.
The good is obviously you'll be able to play any game that you can play on Windows on it.
Yes.
Because it's a Windows PC.
Yes.
And that includes all the other launchers as well.
Steam,
all the rest of it, Epic,
whatever.
So you're not going to be locked down like you are on the Xbox Series X to only being able to play Xbox games from the Xbox launcher, as it were. The downside of that is, as the report goes on to talk about, is it will lock you down. Xbox games that are available on it will only be the games that are available on Xbox Game Pass or Xbox Play in the Play Anywhere project that they're working on.
Any Xbox games that's already available on PC.
Yes. So it's not all Xbox games. No. Because, of course, they've got a vast back catalogue.
Yes.
And a lot of that relies on it's like hardware bound, basically.
Yeah. It's completely different architecture and stuff.
But I will say, I guess the one problem is if you've got an existing Xbox library, even if it's a digitized library, there's going to be a huge amount of those games that you won't be able to play on this yet. I will say that, firstly, this Xbox Series X is basically a PC.
Yes.
And the Xbox operating system that's on it is based upon Windows.
Yes, yeah.
They've said that. They've said as much themselves. So being able to make those games that can play on that, be able to play on a Windows device, isn't a giant leap at all.
No.
The other thing is, a lot of these, we're basically talking about older games.
Yeah.
I can't remember what their AI project's called, Windows' AI project. But they've been working heavily on it. And Phil Spencer's excited statement about it was how it revolutionizes the ability to emulate certain hardware.
Yes.
So the idea of game preservation becomes very easy because emulation can be baked into this kind of AI hardware emulation, basically. So it's not a giant leap to think, well, if they're already working on that, it wouldn't be very long until all of the Xbox catalog
is potentially playing
on Windows.
Yes, via emulation. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's right. And I think I know we might touch on this at the end, but because we're talking about it now, I think that the Xbox handheld is something different that we still will see in another couple of years. The actual dedicated, this true Microsoft Xbox handheld, will be a separate thing. Yeah. And that will be an Xbox. It won't be a PC. That's going to be little Billy proof. You can't back out. You can't install Steam. Well, maybe you can. Who knows? But, it's going to be, this is an Xbox and you play
That's an interesting, Game Pass at that point, it's an interesting distinction, isn't it? Because how do you separate price points? Because we'll talk about pricing in a minute, but it's going to be very similar. And how do you distinguish what's what? Or do they does the Xbox itself start slowly merging into being just a PC?
Yes. Yeah, I think that's the case.
And then all launches become available. You think about how open doors Microsoft Gaming is becoming about sharing their own IPs out.
Yeah.
They just want people to play their games.
Yes.
So it's not a giant leap to think that they might, in the future, have the ability to put Steam on an Xbox.
Yeah, maybe. I still think that's not going to happen because you're then clashing with being able to launch any game ever on a bit of hardware
or
that's
is it
not
just the
available
handheld?
for it.
Is the handheld always going to be more like a PC?
See,
its openness.
I still think there's I think PC is where Xbox becomes fully open, and these OEM Xbox ones, the ASUS Xbox, will be a full PC, and eventually we'll see the benefit of Xbox becoming full PC, where you can play all Xbox games on PC. That's the eventuality. I think we're here. They're so driving towards play anywhere.
Yeah.
But I said this in a previous podcast. I fully expect that their hardware, their consoles, will only be for Xbox titles.
Yeah.
Just like almost like Steam Deck. Let's say, it's really only for Valve's storefront.
Yeah.
This is a way to sell games on the Xbox storefront, and it means that it is dumb-proof.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you buy game from Xbox, it work.
Yeah.
Like
it's optimized.
and that's it. So I think the true Xbox handheld that will be made and manufactured by them will be no different than an Xbox Series S or X, where it is just a storefront seller for their own games, and that's it.
Yeah.
And I think PC land, these PC Xbox handhelds and OS,
if that's
the other side,
the trajectory, which isn't outlandish to think, it does then go back to the early point of going, what they call this is actually really important, and it probably won't be called an Xbox as the first part of it. It'll be something Xbox.
I like what you said, the Ally Xbox, because you're then straddling both.
But it's technically
lines.
an ASUS product.
Yes, yeah.
It's just it's in partnership with Xbox. So when in 2027, when they do their update to this generation, and there's a handheld in it, that is the Xbox Series handheld.
Yes.
And then the Xbox Series, whatever the X2 or whatever they're going to call it. So there's a clear distinction there for people.
Yeah, I think that's correct. Yeah, I think that's how we're going to see it now. I really do.
So yeah, going back to the games that you can play, this version, let's call it the Ally Xbox, it's just a Windows PC. So you'll be able to play any game that you can play on a Windows PC now.
Yeah.
It just has Xbox front and center. The really important one. How much will the ASUS Kennan device cost? Kennan.
I suppose the Kel. I suppose
orange soda. How much will orange soda cost?
I think this ties nicely, obviously, with like specs and stuff. But we can go through price first and then go into it.
Yeah.
I think because, like we've said before, this is going to be an ASUS thing in collaboration with Xbox, but ROG is still top dog. Right? So that's going to be absolute balls to the wall. Like we said, every time they release an ROG Ally, that's going to be max spec, top end price. I think this lands where we were expecting the tough Ally to land. This is going to be like £500, $550 to undercut Lenovo's weird like configurations with SteamOS and sit like nicely between Steam Deck and then all these other PC handhelds at an affordable price, because you've got the big Xbox stamp on it. People are going to go, I want that.
Yes. It's and that's what the report goes on to say. You're absolutely right. It 100% is aimed. There's no fixed price yet, clearly, and a lot can change because things change all the time. But their target is to sit between the Steam Deck as the bottom and the Lenovo Legion Go S as the top. So you're absolutely right. It's basically between 500 and 600 is that target point.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're going to be aiming for 5.
Yeah.
Because it's an Xbox device. So there is a ceiling on what that can be as well.
Yeah.
An ASUS Xbox device, 500. You feel like that kind of is justifiable.
Yes.
How well it will sell, because now you really are sitting next to the Steam Deck.
And that's what they want, and I think they could really hit off Windows gaming on handhelds by being as close to Steam Deck as possible. If they can get to that Steam Deck OLED price,
they can get to 450.
Well, yeah, maybe, but you know, Steam Deck OLED's still 480.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, even if it's 500, you're for £20 more, for $20, $50, whatever it is, £20 more, you're unlocking play any game.
Yeah.
You've got access to Call of Duty day one Game Pass.
Yeah.
Yeah. With
comes
online
with
play.
it.
Comes with
Game Pass for 3 months.
Exactly,
doesn't it?
yeah. So all of that stuff, whereas on Steam, you pay 20 quid less, but now you've got to buy all your stuff and it don't run natively. You got no anti-cheat support.
Can't play Call of Duty.
Can't play Call of Duty. Whereas with this, they want it as close to Steam Deck as possible, because this XboxOS, Windows Gaming OS, whatever we want to call it, is going to be a big competitor to SteamOS. And I think getting as close as possible, if someone's sat there and they're on the fence, it can't be a big jump in price. It needs to be almost the same price as a Steam Deck, little bit more expensive, but it needs to be within reach, so that someone thinking about a Steam Deck OLED can go, actually, that Xbox handheld.
I just want to ask, right, what, because it kind of leads into the specs really closely. If you're going toe-to-toe on pricing, obviously the newer device is going, like hardware-wise, is going to outperform. We'll get into what the speculation is on the specs and what's going to be running it. The first bit, my first thought, and the biggest criticism of the ROG Ally and the Ally X is the screen, isn't it?
Yes.
Everyone wants OLED.
Yeah.
And we're talking about the Steam Deck OLED as being the competitor to this new Xbox Ally. Will it have an OLED screen? And I would say if ASUS are making it, probably not.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I think they'll use the Ally screen.
Yes. Yeah. Just rehash it.
I don't even think it'll be 8 inches. I think it will just be that
the
screen.
same thing. I feel like they could put this as the 8-incher.
Maybe.
But keep it LCD.
Yep.
Keep it like basic. Maybe it's still VRR. I don't know. But like 8-inch, but then the rest of the specs are a bit lower. We'll discuss that. To save then, when the Ally 2 comes next year, that will be the 8-inch OLED.
There's a lot of sense. Even if it is not 8-inch, if it's just the same, there's a lot of sense in it if they're thinking about how can they make it cheaper.
Yeah.
Because so much of the work's already done.
Yeah, they've already got crap loads of these 7-inch screens.
They've got that. The supply's already there,
and they're really good.
Architecture's already there. It's probably going to be the same battery because it's already there.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, why not use the same battery? The battery's not the bit that's making the Ally X expensive. It is one of the bits that makes it appealing.
Yes. Yeah.
But I mean, if the supply's already there, we'll be 18 months on from the Ally X by the time this drops.
Yeah.
It's not a crazy thought.
Yeah, it's not a crazy thought at all. No, and I genuinely like the Ally X screen.
Yeah,
7-inch, obviously 8 inches is ideal.
But
the 7-inch Ally X screen, I'm more than happy with.
The VRR thing it's brilliant. Makes it really cool. Would they? And this is the other thing, when we start drilling into the kind of real specs of it, and we're talking about VRR, OLED, would Microsoft be communicating that with customers? I think about Nintendo and the upcoming Switch 2.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And of course, that's going to have some kind of DLSS built into it. But
they won't directly outwardly say it, will they?
They're not going to say that because that's not for Nintendo customers to think about.
Yeah.
And in the same way, Microsoft's a little bit more techie with how they communicate Xbox, but not like massively.
Yeah, maybe. I feel like they do deep dive hard when they announce the systems.
Yeah, fair point.
They go hard into like the drives and the way that they, I feel like they would.
They would talk about VRR.
They'll talk about it at release and like in the announcement, but it won't be like slapped on the box maybe.
Right, so speculation on what it's going to be running. And I think the big thing really to talk about, because there's the little parts like what configuration of RAM it's going to have, the speed and the capacity of that's going to be well open and up in the air. The big bit everyone's going to be interested in is what's the processor that's going to be in this.
Yeah.
Because the options are it's a really weird junction we're at. There's quite a lot of options available to it. The reason I wanted to start with the target prices, because that kind of informs what the specs are going to be quite well.
Yeah.
If we know they're aiming at a $500 price point, it's not going to be the Z2 Extreme that's going in there.
No, not at all. I don't think so.
No. Well, because Lenovo's Go 2 is going to have the Z2 Extreme in it
later
this year. And we don't know the price point of that yet, do we?
We don't even know if it's going to be this year.
That's true. Yeah, it was just announced that it's happening.
It's a prototype.
But we know it's going to sit above what the Go S is.
Oh, yeah.
And the Go S is 699.
Something like that, yeah.
We know that the Z1 Extreme is still currently the best option that's actually available on the market.
Yep.
And that's 700 at retail.
Yeah.
So I'd be doubtful that it had a Z1 Extreme in it. You think because of the age by the time it releases?
I think
it'd be incredible performance.
If I'm going to put it straight out there right now, I basically think the whole thing is going to just be the exact same internals as a Z1 Extreme Ally.
That makes it so easy.
Yeah, they're just
it's
put
just
a different shell on
refacing
it. Because the whole point of this is going to be XboxOS. That's why I think it has to launch with it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter about the internals. It's going to be this operating system is launching with this.
Would you think that they would even consider doing this like at a break-even cost, or maybe even a slight loss?
Maybe. I don't. Well, if it's Xbox behind it, that's probably number one thing, isn't it? Make sure you're losing money on this product.
They've got like the whiteboard out, like, how do we lose money on gaming this year? We've got an idea. What's that? We have a subscription model that's really cheap, right? And we put all our new games on it for free.
And no one has to pay for them.
No one has to pay for it. You just play it. It's like Netflix for gaming.
Yeah.
But we lose money on it.
Yeah. So I think the specs do matter, of course, and I'm happy to discuss because I've got some ideas. But I do think, like you said, with the screen, it's already there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like the Z1 Extreme is the best chip right now.
Yes.
And you can still buy Z1 Extreme Allies for like £500.
Yeah.
Like it would make
really
sense.
Good point.
It makes sense.
I always forget about the original Ally in all these conversations.
I know we're thinking about Ally X here.
Yeah.
And I think it might be a bit of a hybrid of both then, maybe. Maybe it's a slightly bigger battery. I don't know.
Actually, now you say the Ally Z1 Extreme, it's not a reskinned Ally X because there's little bits in that make it premium.
Yes, exactly.
Like the extended battery life and the screen and stuff.
24 gig of RAM and stuff.
But if you just rebranded the Ally Z1 Extreme as an Xbox.
Exactly.
It's a really compelling offering.
Yeah.
The processing on it's great. It's got slightly slower RAM, if I remember rightly, slightly less capacity.
Yep.
But we're talking about a budget handheld gaming device.
Exactly.
So when we've always said that if you can pick up a Z1 Extreme in the sales, sometimes they're down to like 450, aren't they?
Yeah, 400 I think it's been down to lowest.
Then pick one up because it's an incredible offering.
And it outperforms the Z2
And that's a really, really important point. A lot of the speculation and in Jez Corden's article, he's speculating at this point about what the processing will be. And he's talking about the Z2 chips.
Yep.
That we're going to see in the Go S, which is basically the same kind of thing. They've got the Z2 Go, but the Z2 base model chip. But the Z1 Extreme outperforms both of those still.
Exactly.
Would have been out even longer, so the supply chain would be even better and cheaper because
support for the chip is higher.
Yeah.
Driver support is higher.
And you think by the time we're talking about these actually being put into units, the Z2 Extreme will already be in production.
Mm-hmm.
So the cost of the existing Z1 Extremes will be very low.
Yep.
So meeting that price point that we talked about,
easy,
a lot easier.
And you look at how Lenovo failed with the Go S, because they went Z2 Go subpar, underperforming of the Z1 Extreme, but they went, but it's got 32 gig of RAM, and let's charge 700 for it. 700. Have you seen the reviews? People are like slating it because
poor performance.
Because why have you got 32 gig of RAM? Like, no, put a Z1 Extreme in it and give it 20 gig of RAM. Like, that would have been better. Like, whatever. But yeah, I personally feel like it's going to be a rebrand Ally 1, like Z1E, and if not, then we might see just a base Z2 chip in it instead, and not the Go, because that is for Lenovo, but the Z2, which is actually more performant than the Z2 Go.
Is it really?
Yes, yeah. So this is so confusing, right? Because you've got Z2 Go is absolute rock bottom pants. Yeah. Then you've got the Z2, which is just a bit better, like it is a little bit better. Then you've got the Z1 Extreme, and then you've got the Z2 Extreme.
Yeah.
That's it in terms of performance.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Z2 base chip is better than the Go, and I think we could potentially see that, but I still think it was more likely we'll see a Z1 Extreme in it.
It'd be very easy for them to do that.
Exactly, yeah.
Now, the other part of it is that the strong indication are there's 2 SKUs of this as well.
Yeah.
But it's unclear as to what the variations would be. I would imagine, being that it's an Xbox device, it's going to be SSD configuration differences.
I totally agree.
It's quite unlikely that they're going to do different RAM configuration or different processing.
They shouldn't. They
No.
need to keep it simple.
Keep it simple.
It's an Xbox branded product, or a collaboration. Keep it nice and easy. You've got the one thing, and you've either got a 500 gig SSD or your 2 terabyte.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Steam Deck did it perfectly.
Yes, Steam Deck nailed it with that.
Yeah.
Like, I love it for that, because someone can go on there and go, everything's the same.
Yep.
It's just how much
storage.
RAM, how much storage do I want? Yeah.
Yeah. If anything, they need to do themselves a favor and get rid of the LCD off the website entirely. Steam Deck.
Steam Deck do, yes. Yeah, just make it OLED only.
Just
now.
OLED only.
Yeah, it's dead now. Get
Then
rid
it's
of that.
really easy to understand what's going on.
Yes.
But yeah, it needs to be that simple. If this is genuinely competition for Steam Deck, and if the idea is genuinely to get Xbox in more people's hands,
I think so, yeah.
The configuration, I would even argue, don't bother with 2 SKUs if I was part of the design team.
I think it makes sense to have 2 in terms of storage.
Yeah.
Because we've seen so many times in people commenting on our video of how to upgrade the Ally X's storage, people don't want to do it.
No, I don't want to do it.
No, but so the only option you've got is to find someone that you know.
Every time I see you do a tutorial, all right, you're always like, AJ, I finished it, have a look at it. So I'm watching it. The recent one I'm thinking of is the, I don't know if it's even out yet, actually.
Today that we're filming it, which dates this video, which is a Friday, the first video would have gone, the Gula Kit Hall Effect.
The Hall Effect
mods
replacements.
for the Ally X,
Every time I watch anything and you're like, the first bit is when you're getting the spudger in and prying off the plastic clips and not breaking them.
Pulling the black paint off.
I was like, I'd definitely snap a clip there. The next bit is when you have to undo the ribbon cables.
Yes.
And they have to remove the little latch.
Yeah.
Every time I look at it, I'm like, yeah, I'd blowtorch that.
Melt it to disconnect it. I know how to get that off.
Blowtorch.
Yep, that's disconnected.
The patience you need to... I'm fine with PC components in general because there's so much space.
Yeah, the big Lego bricks.
Yeah, it's easy.
Yeah.
Although I still managed to blow them up. So. But the level of patience and kind of dexterity that you need on like taking your Ally X apart.
Yeah.
I can understand why people don't want to be upgrading their hard drives on it.
Exactly that.
The future models should definitely copy the PlayStation idea.
I think Pork, our member, should be the poster child as why not to do.
Let me tell you a cautionary tale about one of our channel members who bought an Ally X and day one followed Andy's guide on how to upgrade the storage. By day 2, Pork had broken the clip that holds down the hard drive.
No, it's the battery connector.
It was the battery, even worse. The battery connector had snapped it because accidentally had put too much force on it, I imagine.
Yeah.
He then put it all back together delicately, sent it off to ASUS, and they replied to him, "We will give you a 50% refund, or we'll send it to the repair centre to see if we do believe you're at fault, in which case you might get 0% refund."
Yeah.
Because they could see that he had taken it apart, which meant that when he was doing the bit of the spudging, he'd obviously damaged the case very slightly. They microscope it, they see.
Oh, yeah. And there's no way that you can't dent that plastic when you're prying the back off.
Yeah.
You just have to, you know.
So poor old Pork had to, he got a 50% refund on his brand new Ally X.
And had to buy another one.
He didn't tell his wife.
Did you not? I don't
know. I'm assuming you didn't.
Yeah.
You wouldn't.
I do feel bad for Paul, but there lies the number one reason why Xbox would have 2 variants.
Fair point.
Because yes, it's going to have a Microsoft reader, a micro SD card reader.
Don't use it.
Especially if Asus is making it. No, that's been fixed. That's been fixed. It's just a joke now. But yeah, I think it's going to be, here's your 1 terabyte, maybe even to cut the cost and bring the cost lower again, we get a 500 gig variant, and it's a here's your 500 gig variant and here's your 1 terabyte variant, and that'll be it.
So the final point is like, when is it going to be released, and when are we going to actually hear the official launch of it? It's still a fluid thing.
Yeah.
The best thing they're talking about, the most nailed on thing is it's going to be an end of the year launch, as in it will be available to buy in the final quarter.
I fully expect that.
When we're going to hear about it, there's two potentials that we could hear about it. It could be as early as May. There's a thing called Microsoft Build happening, I think it is.
Okay.
And then, of course, you've got is it July or June's Xbox Directs?
Yes, I think they'll save it for them.
The summer one, anyway, whenever they put that. I think it's July. And then we could hear about it then. Of course, because this is all speculative at this point in the story, they could conceivably do a dedicated showcase for it.
Yeah, true. Yeah, maybe.
That wouldn't be ridiculous to think, would it?
No.
Because it's such a big thing. I want to guess, when they do, how many barbed references to the PlayStation Portal do they make?
Oh, yeah. Totally.
Because despite the console war being over and Microsoft just going, we're not taking part anymore, they can't help themselves occasionally just to poke a little bit.
Yeah. And they would have totally won with this versus
the handheld thing. Yeah. It does make me believe that when this happens, PlayStation absolutely need to step up.
Yeah.
Because it's clear that the direction of travel for a lot of the more dedicated gamers is towards having handheld as either your primary device or definitely a companion device.
It's a tough one because they got the Portal.
And you think they're just going to double down on the Portal idea?
Yeah, or they just don't bother with a handheld because they just keep releasing more and more stuff to PC.
It's remarkable
let
to
all
me.
The PC handhelds deal with it.
Yeah, it baffles me to think that they were so far ahead of the game only, 15 years ago?
Yeah.
And the Vita, the PSP before that, like, they were so far ahead of it, they had it.
Yeah,
Literally had it in their hands.
PSP was mind-blowing.
Yeah.
And they deemed the Vita a failure, and it sold over 10 million units. And that's more than all of these Windows handhelds put together.
It's more than the entire handheld market right now.
Yeah, exactly. And they said, fail, and pull the plug.
maybe that's, this is slightly biased to us, because maybe that's the size of markets that PlayStation now operates in.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
it's so big that when they look at, we could take part in this market, there's only like 6 million sold in total. It's not even worth us taking part in it.
Stood up there in their castle looking down at us peasants.
They sell they could do anything and sell it. So the flip side is they could just stick with a Portal and just sell millions of those.
But that's the thing. If they release a handheld, it can't be Windows because that's Microsoft.
Yeah.
So it would have to be a PS Vita 2 with its own operating system. Maybe it's just a complete clone of the PlayStation 5 series. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's only going to be PlayStation. And that's it. And then people are going to be sat on the fence. I could buy the PlayStation Portable, right? Or I could buy any Windows handheld or the Xbox handheld and run PlayStation games on it.
Probably better as well.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's a very tricky position. But I think I would still argue that there's space for PlayStation to be in this market.
And because they charge so much money for everything, at least it should have some good specs, because it'll be like, here's the PlayStation handheld at £1,000.
Well, if the PS5 Pro's anything to go by, they could release something that's half finished and
True. Yeah.
and promise to update it with someone else's technology later.
Yeah. We've worked in collaboration, and by collaboration I mean stealing.
That's our tale for a different day.
Yeah,
episode 4. Really, that's it. The other part is something we've already talked about, and it's, will Xbox still make its own handheld?
Yeah, I think so.
That's all kind of speculative at that point, and we kind of think that they will.
Yeah.
And I think it will be a dual launch with the next generation Xbox.
Yeah.
That's happening.
Yeah. It'll be in place of the Series S.
Yes, exactly that. And the common thought now, there was some talk that it was going to be 2026 for the next Xbox, but I think all the stories now is that this actually pushes it to 27.
Yeah. I think that makes sense.
Which sits in line with the 7-year generation.
I think it makes sense.
It makes sense. It does definitely make sense if they do a Series X styled like premium console and their own budget, like lesser performance handheld in place of the
yeah,
Series
because
S.
obviously we can all imagine that it's going to be the cheap one. Do you know what I mean? Like your Ally Xbox is going to be more performant.
Yeah.
You know, but it just might be that there's that divide then of that the Xbox handheld is actually classed as an Xbox playing Xbox games, and you know the Xbox Ally or whatever you want to call it is a PC.
What it does do for potentially for a lot of their sales is when you have the Series S and the Series X, you buy one or the other.
Yes.
But if you have a handheld and a console, there's potential that people are going to buy both.
Exactly.
Maybe not right away, but at some point in that journey, in that 7-year generation, they'll probably end up buying both.
Yeah.
And by the time 2027 comes along, the ability for that kind of the AI hardware-based acceleration that we're seeing on so many things, FSR 4 has been an exciting development.
Oh, massively,
in that.
Yeah.
So you think, what's it going to be like in 2 years' time? It's accelerated so much that potentially their budget offering in a handheld device is only going to have to output 720p, upscale to a 1080 screen.
Yeah.
I think it's very feasible that could be running AAA games better than the Series S can.
Oh, yeah. I think when they release an Xbox handheld, it will be better than the Series S. Like, totally.
It's really exciting. Anyway, I'm
massively
really
excited.
We're going to see it this year.
Yeah,
so that's
exactly.
mental.
And I love that it's going to be paired with ASUS. You know, because I fully expect I'm like 99% locked in there.
Dude,
there's no one else they're going to do it with.
I speak to the ASUS PR team every couple of months or so, and now I am their best friend. I'm going to be talking to them all the time. Please send us whatever it is.
Yes.
Can we be insiders? Day one scoops, please.
Yes.
Because that's so exciting.
Give us a tour of your workshop.
Can we come to Taiwan and do like a video?
I want to do it.
Yeah, that would be well exciting.
They give us these Xbox handhelds as gifts.
Maybe make us shareholders.
Yes.
Own the company.
Yeah.
Then we can go buy a 50 series.
5090. No, I'm super excited. My main excitement comes for Windows OS.
Yeah.
Windows Xbox OS.
Yeah, Xbox OS.
Windows
Please
Xbox
call it
Gaming
Xbox OS. Please call it. They won't.
No.
It'll have a stupid name.
It'll be Microsoft Gaming OS.
Yeah.
Or something crap like that.
Windows Gaming.
Yeah. Hub. Something really like bleh.
Maybe they just keep calling it Game Hub, and Game Hub just extends
Yeah.
to take over your entire device.
Yeah, maybe.
And your life.
That's it.
And it reaches out and runs up. You
like
Venom.
Matrix.
Like
All
Matrix.
right. Yeah. But yeah, I'm excited for that because I fully expect this will be that first launch into that, and then we'll start seeing it being widely available through Windows on any device you want.
Yeah, we'll see it rolled out in 2026. So
can't wait.
Those of you with like Ally X's and stuff will probably have it as well. Anyway, love to know what you guys think down in the comments down below. Are you as excited as we are, or is this all hashtag fake? Could
Delusional.
be delusional.
Yeah.
Any other reasons why we're wrong? Let us know in the comments, and I'll ignore them. What else should they do, Andy? Whilst they're down and digging around?
Like and subscribe. Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah. Become a member.
What? Yeah, because you know
they can talk to us.
Yeah. There's those reasons.
There's those reasons, and the most important thing they can do is have a nice day.
That's such a lovely ending. So like before you leave, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.